Does it ever feel like before kids, everything flowed so much easier? You could manage your time better. Like you knew what you had to do in the next 5 minutes or the next 5 hours or the next 5 days. Then kids came. Then things became chaotic and hectic, and your time just was no longer your own. But that's okay. And that is perfectly normal. And it's important that you know that it is normal, that everything really changes after having kids. In a lot of ways, almost always, it's much better. They bring joy to our lives. Things are just different. But then a lot changes, and that change is hard. So today, I want to help you figure out a way to manage your time better. And what I have for you is 5 steps to make time for what matters. We're going to go through the steps quick, so grab your pen and paper. I want you to write these steps down, leave a little bit of space in between so that you can supplement with what I'm sharing that is really hitting for you. Step 1, choose the medium. Step 2, start small. Step 3, sort. Step 4, organize. Step 5 is sustain. Again, I went through those a little bit fast. Choose the medium, start small, sort, organize, sustain. Okay, I know you might be driving. I always listen to podcasts when I'm driving. But these things should stick with you as I go through an explanation of each. The goal is to help you create a time management process, if you will, that works for you, for your family, in your current season of life, and beyond. I want to start us off with a question that I want you to answer, and you just need to answer to yourself. I suspect I know the answer to this question. Do you feel like your time is not your own? Like your time is completely out of your control? I suspect the answer is yes. I know when my kids were younger, it just felt impossible. There were so many unknowns. They're teenagers right now, and things still feel a little bit out of my control, but I've learned over time how to roll with that and how to deal with that, and really truly how to incorporate those unknowns into my time management processes, right? So if you feel like your time is out of control, it's out of your control, it's out of your hands, and you really just have to react to everything, you are in the right place. You are going to walk away from today's episode with 5 steps that you can implement and improve upon over time that's really going to help you feel more at peace with how you are spending your time, and that you'll be able to make time for what matters most to you. Okay, we're going to dive into step number 1, choose the medium. This is super simple. You're a paper person, you're a digital person. I don't want you to get too wrapped up in this because we can get so focused on the tool. And I know I've listened to other podcasters for home organized experts like myself, and they're recommending sometimes that if you get this specific planner, it's going to change your life. If you do a dot journal and really just draw up your own plan on a daily basis, it's going to change your life. I can promise you that the tool or the medium that you use, that's not what's going to change your life. Okay? You thinking through this, that's what's going to change your life. You creating a system that works for you, that's what's going to change your life. Okay? A different, yeah, I've probably beat this to death. We'll not go down that path anymore. But I'm pretty passionate about this, that you can't just get this piece of paper or this booklet and think that you don't have to put any work into it. Like if I just fill in the little spots, that's what's going to change my life. That's all I'm going to say on that now. Okay, so step number 1, select the medium. You know if paper works best or digital or a combination. Like you can have a hybrid of paper and digital. And that's typically what I have done. So it's okay to not know that right now, too. Like, just choose one, pick one and go with it. If you are really excited about this and you're going to dive in and you really just want to start fresh, go out and buy a planner. They have planners that it's October. Well, all the new planners for the new year are out, but they may not have the current month. Like they might have December and then next year. So I don't know. You'll have to check that out. But you can also go with digital and you can go with a hybrid where you have certain pieces of information in a digital calendar that you can share with your husband. You can share with other family members if they're old enough to that point, or you can go 100% paper planner. Either way is fine. Either way is going to work, and you really don't have to get too wrapped up in this. So, step number one, choose the medium. Step number two, start small. And starting small is really with your expectations. When we start things like this, it is our human nature to really paint this big, massive picture of how everything is going to be so much better when all of your time is organized. You guys, it doesn't change overnight. It is going to take time. It is going to take persistence. But I want you to start small with your expectations. If you lay out your schedule for a week and only 3 things went awry, that's a success. You should be happy with that, not beating yourself up about it. Okay, so step number 2, start small. Step number 3, sort. Sorting is one of the foundational elements that I teach in the online course that I have, and I will leave the link below. I'll talk a little bit more about this online course, but I want to keep plugging away on the 5 steps to make time for what matters to you. So sorting through all of the demands on your time is super important. What you're going to go ahead and do in this step is document everything you can think of. You're going to do a brain dump of all of the things that require your time. And it's going to be a lot. And if you go pretty detailed, it might even feel a little overwhelming just to do this task, but trust me, trust the process that if you get this all down on paper, either in a typed up list or a handwritten list, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel better just getting this all out of your head. You don't have to do anything other than list out all of the demands on your time. So, what this looks like, okay? So, if you have to drive your kids to school, you're going to note down drive kids to school. If it is easy at this point in time to say what time you have to drive your kids to school, or how long it's going to take, you can go ahead and do that. But I don't want you to get all wrapped up in, well, I don't really know how long this task is going to take. I have a demand on my time to scrub the toilets. Scrubbing toilets is not my favorite thing to do. I don't know if that's yours. Anyhow, you're not sure how long it's going to take to scrub the toilets. That's just an example. Maybe not a great example, but just put it down on the list. Okay, this list is your master list. You are going to add to this as time goes on. You're going to think of new things, but make it or put it down on this list because then you're going to have the full picture. Sorting through the demands on your time. You've written everything down. Now you are going to look at that list, kind of put a different hat on, and just be like, do I have to do this thing? Is this thing important right now or not? Sometimes we do things out of habit and we don't need to do them anymore, or they don't need to be done as frequently anymore, right? So go ahead, and this is like a physical sorting. And again, this is part of what I teach in the online course I offer. Link is in the description below. When you're sorting through these things and making the decision of whether you're going to keep it on the list or get rid of it, a physical sort is the same kind of thing where you're sorting through your clothes. Like, do I want to keep this or do I not want to keep it? This is just not as physical, if that makes sense. Okay. So kind of decluttering your list of the demands on your time. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Step number one, select the medium, that's paper or digital. Step number two, starting small with your expectations. So if things don't go perfectly the first time around, you're not beating yourself up because then you could potentially just quit. Step number three, sort through all the demands on your time. Get rid of what you know you don't need to do anymore. And you guys, it does feel good to write it on the list and then cross it off. Step number four, organize. Now we're going to take everything we've sorted through. We have our brain dump. We have our complete list of things that are demands on our time. And now we're going to take the next week. We're actually going to lay out our schedule. So you have your preferred medium, whether it's paper or digital, and you're going to plug these things into the schedule just for the next week. Yes, there are going to be things on your list that you don't have to do next week. That's okay. They can just stay on your list. You've got them down. You're not going to forget about them. Okay. So now in your schedule, in your calendar, I use a Google Calendar. I can share that Google Calendar with my entire family. If I want to, I have some things I don't share, some things I do share. It's very flexible and it's easy for me to use. If you don't want to use Google, that's okay. But you're going to create your next week, right? Think about it. You have a whole entire week planned out. That feels good. When it comes to the rubber meeting the road, things may not work out as you have planned. That's okay. This is a time to learn. You are going to learn from your experience of what is panning out the way you have planned and what isn't, right? Remember, I said to start small with your expectations. This is the reason why. You have to learn from what is going well and what isn't going well. Which brings me to step number 5, sustain. Why go through all of this time and effort if you're not going to sustain it? But you need to know how to do so, right? I said to start small so that you don't beat yourself up. And that is part of the sustainability piece, but you want to do a regular review. Okay. I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this. This is super simple. It's super fast. You can do it while you're driving. You can kind of think through some of these things. But once the week is done, you're going to ask yourself what worked, what didn't work, and you're going to ask yourself what things dropped in. What unexpected things dropped in, because that's always the kicker, right? That's always the thing that completely messes us up, gets us off track, gets us off our schedule, and we don't get all of the things done that we wanted to. And then we feel like we can't even do the things that matter specifically to us. So, sustainability, a regular review. What's working, what's not, what dropped in that you didn't expect, and what took longer or less time than what you expected. If you do this on a weekly basis instead of just whenever you have time, that's really going to help you sustain what you put in place. Okay, I'm going to go through the steps really quick again. Step 1, select the medium. Step 2, start small. Step 3, sort through all the demands on your time. Step 4, organize all of those demands into what next week looks like. Just do this 1 week at a time. Step number 5, sustain by doing a regular review. Okay, that is what I have for you today. I mentioned an online course that you can register for. The link is in the show notes. What this is, you guys, back in the day when my kids were little, I felt like such a bad mom because I could not manage all of the things. I felt like I needed so much help, but I couldn't ask for help because that was like admitting I didn't know what I was doing. It's all very convoluted. And when I say it out loud now, I'm really shining a light on an issue we have in our society of being perfect. We expect ourselves to be perfect because we are inundated with all of these images on social media, and way back in the day, it was magazines, right? That had these pictures of perfectly curated homes, but now you see that stuff on Pinterest. Now you see your friends and family posting like, "Oh my gosh, look at these fun things I'm doing with my kids." And you feel bad. You feel less than. You feel like you're not doing enough and you never get all of the regular stuff done. How can you do the things that you want to be doing, the fun things that really truly matter, and build relationships within your family? But this online course is going to share with you exactly the steps you can put on repeat within your home so that you feel like everything is together. Along the way, I teach you how to really truly find peace and joy within your home and in your current season of life. So that's what I have for you today. I pray that you have a fun and productive weekend and that you're able to put these 5 steps into practice. I will be back here next week sharing tangible and simple instructions about home organizing, cleaning, and time management. I'll see you then.